And Mr. Griffin, just for, clarification, your full name and law firm, just,
If you can speak into the microphone. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Griffin and Humphreys. My name's James M. Griffin of Griffin and Humphreys, and my Columbia address is 8906 Two Notch Road, Suite 200, Columbia, South Carolina.
thank you. Yeah, Mr. Griffin, do you have, in addition to Mr. Brock, your client, do you have any other witnesses here today, or is?
Yeah, yes, Stefan Edwards with Paragon Builders is here to speak on behalf of Brock as well as Paragon Builders.
Okay. And I think at this time, we can go ahead and swear in both Mr. Brock and Edwards? Okay. If you'll just turn to the court reporter, she'll give you the rest of the instructions.
About to give today in this matter is the truth, the whole truth.
Well, Mr. Griffin, I'll turn it over to you, and look forward to your presentation.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm a little apprehensive since everyone's been approved thus far, and they've not had an attorney. So maybe Brock and Mr. Edwards, but briefly, I represented Tom Brock in the federal criminal case, and so I met him in 2018. He was charged in a multi-count indictment. There were a number of contractors who were investigated and had been charged relating to minorities set-aside businesses operating under straw minorities. And in the entirety of the indictment, I mean, that was a big bulk of the charges against Mr. Brock. But as it turns out, and as we were able to convince the U.S. Attorney's Office, I mean, the minority owners in his business partnerships, I mean, were actively involved in the operations and exercised control, and frankly, to such a degree that what Mr. Brock ultimately pled guilty to was it was more of a financial fraud relating to the female partner in the business. They had a factoring company. The money in the business was being wasted, not necessarily by Mr. Brock, and that false invoices were created to generate cash flow. Mr. Brock pled guilty to that. He received 51 months, I believe, in federal prison. There is no parole. Generally, you have to do 85% of your time. Mr. Brock only did 15 months of that entire sentence for a couple of reasons. One, he participated in the intensive residential drug treatment program they have in federal prison. It is a very intensive 9-month program, and after you complete that, you qualify for a year reduction in your sentence. I can tell you I've had plenty of clients not successfully complete that, even though that carrot is very attractive a year early out. He successfully completed that, and it also his sentence overlapped COVID, and because of the quality of inmate he was eligible for early release under some programs, and so he actually did 15 months of remainder of the time he did home confinement, and then there's generally a 3-year period of supervised release or 2-year period. In the materials that we've handed up, Mr. Brock's supervised release was terminated early, and the motion that supported that is attached, but his supervised release was terminated August 31, 2023, and the reason for that is because he complied with everything. He was a model And supervised release is a lot like probation, but that's what they call it in federal court. And so, because he was compliant and had taken care of all his financial penalties, his supervised release was terminated. I didn't get character letters for this matter, but I did pull from our file character letters that people wrote on Mr. Brock's behalf to submit to a federal judge after he had pled guilty to a federal crime and to be considered at his sentencing. I do that in every criminal case that I have, and it's and I don't write these. I give a sort of a guide to the client and names of people who want to write on their behalf. And, I mean, I may get 5 letters, 10 letters, 15 letters. I mean, folks in the community stood up for Mr. Brock, and there are 32 letters here. And I know you don't have time to read 32 letters, so in full disclosure, I uploaded the letters in Claude AI, and this is Claude's summary of the letters. It is Claude is changing the way we all do business, but I did check it for accuracy, so there are roughly 30 letters from Tom's family, business colleagues, friends and neighbors, church ministry, nonprofit partners, professionals, with his son Colby, who was a young child at the time, and there's a recurring theme as set forth in this document, and I've provided it in there, and I'm not going to repeat it, but there's some things that I would like to point out. Tom had some substance abuse issues. There was underlying reasons for that. There were no excuses for it, but took the courageous step and addressed a lot of all of the underlying reasons. One being his son in the 90s committed suicide, and that loss of a child is something that no one gets over. And then there are other things in his life that will remain confidential. But Tom, through his church, has been an advocate for sobriety. He started a Celebrate Recovery at his church, and the past letter is here. There, Tom also a wonderful letter from his son, who's a doctor, and talks about how Tom would make him go to the Y at 4 o'clock in the morning to swim in the wintertime, and how Tom is such a devoted parent to his children, and in which he is. And Tom is an industrious, hard worker. When Tom came to me, he had actually started volunteering for no pay at Paragon Builders because he wanted something to do. And so he had, when he got out of prison, he started back working at Paragon, and so that's, and I also represent Paragon, and Paragon is a solid, and I've represented Paragon for 20 plus years, and have done lots of matters with them, and one of the things that we're currently litigating, it really has something to do with why we're here today, is that Paragon bid on a job that was posted by the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, and there became an issue as to whether Paragon's plumbing license covered the work. DNR said it didn't. The chief procurement officer of the state said it did, and then it went to the procurement panel that then affirmed DNR's decision, and now we're in the Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals has stayed the performance of that contract, and none of that would have been an issue if Tom had the license that he's seeking today, and that would be working on behalf of Paragon Builders in conjunction with Paragon Builders. No truer words have been said, and that when you own your own business, it's very stressful. I've been operating my own business for 40-something years, and I started with a full head of hair, and here I am. But Tom's not operating his own business. He's working with Paragon. He's a very valuable member of Paragon, and I'll just turn it over to Tom and let him speak to you, and then follow up with Mr. Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Mr. Brock, anything to add?
Well, I've had I spent 52 years. I spent 52 years in the construction industry. It's been my livelihood. I've spent my entire life in South Carolina. And what I want you to see today is my career. It's been built on experience, proper licensing, compliance, and a commitment to standards that have to do with licensed contractors. I started in 1974 as assistant project manager at Gregory Electric Company under Tommy Gregory. And in 1978, I obtained the first master's electrician's license with the City of Columbia. In 1983, I formed Brock Electric Technology, and in 1984, I obtained my first state electrical license. And I added public utilities electrical in 87, unlimited building contractors in 88. In 1990, I sold Brock Electric to Roddy Allen at H.R. Allen. And I served for 8 years as vice president at H.R. Allen until he sold to IES out of Houston, Texas. I then worked for Grant Contracting for 4 years. And then in 2002, I partnered with Corey Adams to form Boykin Contracting. Over the course of my career, I've added lightning protection, plumbing, asphalt, concrete paving, grading, and glass and glazing. All of these come from having worked in the industry and obtained qualifications to pass the test and to add the licensing onto the license. I also served in the industry. I served 2 terms as president of Mechanical Contractors Association of South Carolina. While doing so, I set up with the board several scholarship programs that are still in existence today to giving out many scholarships. I served 6 years on the Building Codes Council, where I exchanged a lot of knowledge of codes, administrations, regulations, and code enforcement. I currently serve as on the advisory board of Game Changers, which is a nonprofit in Irmo that serves underprivileged children. And I commit many hours and resources to building and maintaining their facilities at their locations. Throughout my career, I understand what a contractor's license means. It is evidence of all the tests I've taken and all of the work that I've done. I respect the rules. I respect the standards. During my entire career, there's been no individual or company or customer that's filed a claim against my performance. I've completed every job that was started, and that was brought out during the sentencing hearing. I've conducted myself with the strongest abilities that I have in this industry. I am accountable for what I was found guilty of. And in addition to, I cooperated with the federal government and actually testified in court against one of the co-defendants that brought the whistleblower action to begin with. I took full responsibility for certain allegations, and that was the wire fraud that I knew of when it happened. And I don't minimize the seriousness of what happened, but if anyone that's ever been to prison can testify, it's a life-changing experience. I read 84 books in 15 months. I worked every day, even if it was just 18 cents an hour. I cleaned the yard, I did everything I could. I didn't have to. There was not a requirement. When I went to prison, I was 65, and you didn't have to. And like I said, before I was sentenced, I talking to Jim, and he mentioned it, and I called Stefan Edwards, and I never will forget with the conversation. And he said, Tom, I can use all the help I can get. So in April 2021, I began working full-time with Paragon, and over the 5 years, I've served as the commercial division manager, and I've done over 100 projects, almost $50 million worth of work. Work has allowed me to continue using my construction background constructively and responsibly to help Paragon to build its business. And I'm here today to ask you to look at my full history in the construction. And I believe with that long period of experience, it shows that I really care about the construction industry. And on top of that, at age 69, I have a 16-year-old son who I've got to continue to work so that I can help him become successful in what he does. So with that, I appreciate the opportunity to consider my application as a qualifier for Paragon Builders.
Brock, thank you for sharing that. Before anybody asks, the board members may have questions, but before we do that, Mr. Edwards, I wanted to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Stefan Edwards, and I'm the president of Paragon Builders. It's a minority-owned company here in South Carolina, and I'm here to speak on behalf of not only one of our guys, our coworkers, but my friend Tom. And I respectfully ask that you approve his construction licenses. I'd like to make 3 brief points. First, Tom has accepted responsibility for his past actions. More than 6 years ago, when he was convicted, after being charged with obtaining, and you heard Jim mention this, contracts set aside for minority-owned businesses, he understands what he did, and he knew it was wrong, and he learned how this action hurt legitimate minority-owned businesses like mine. And when Tom came to us and volunteered, I didn't believe it, but he was more helpful for free than he is when we're paying him. He worked extremely hard. But man, when we were blessed to have him then, and then after that, he called back and he agreed to come to work with us, and we were extremely excited. He's made a tremendous difference. The second thing I want to mention that he's volunteered with this company. He has, during his, no, that's not, excuse me one second. As a smart enough to face and understanding the actions. But thirdly, he's demonstrated that through his conduct and work and years of volunteer services, he's offered his position with Paragon Builders. Since joining this company, he has made a tremendous difference and a positive impact, improving himself dependable, hardworking, knowledgeable, and conducting business properly. Tom cannot change his past. He's taken responsibility for it. He's learned from it. He's worked to become a better person in the construction profession. Passing this exam demonstrates his knowledge and commitment to this industry. I respectfully request that this board consider awarding Tom his South Carolina licenses. Thank you for your consideration. I appreciate it.
Mr. Hold on. If I can, I'm going to start off with a couple of questions that I think are pretty straightforward. I think with Paragon Builders, Mr. Edwards, there are already 2 qualifying parties. you and DeQuincy Edwards? Okay. So Mr. Brock obviously would not be the sole qualifying party for the work that you've been doing for years, right? Okay. Next question, and this may be a better question for you, Jim, than Tom, but just getting a little bit familiar with just the background of what the federal conviction was. I read the press release that's included in all the materials, but real quickly, what did your client plead guilty to? What was the conviction? I understand the sort of universe, the conspiracy universe, but remind me what the part was that Tom pled guilty to.
Yeah, he only pled to one count. I think it was count 14 of a much larger indictment. And there was a factoring company that factored or loaned against invoices.
Okay.
And so his business partner, co-defendant, ginned up fake invoices, sent to the factoring company loaned money on that. That's a crime. And he knew about it when it was happening.
Okay. Well, I'll open it up to anybody else. Questions?
So as far as the federal case, you're clean of everything. You served your time. Supervised released is all over.
Correct. That was completed in 2023 was all supervised release ended then. So I have all my civil rights. I vote. Everything's since 2023.
Is there any requirement for restitution or anything?
As a separate party to this, it was a civil forfeiture case with the federal government, and it was a $200,000 civil forfeiture that I made, and that's been paid to the federal government.
That's 100% taken care of.
100% satisfied.
Anything else? Any other questions? Mr. Griffin, I'll give you the last word. If there's anything more to say, there may not be. I'm not suggesting that there has to be.
I renew my comments earlier. I'm most apprehensive about this since I'm the only lawyer here today. But
No pressure.
Tom is, he's a solid individual. He has contributed to his community. We were able to show that, in federal court at the time of his sentencing. I've worked with Tom now that he's been at Paragon on matters, bid issues and whatnot. And so I would just respectfully request that his application be granted.
Mr. Griffin, thank you. And I'll just, does the court reporter have the copies of all the emails? Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, Mr. Brock, your case is submitted to the board. Are there any motions at this time?
Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the application.
So the motion is to approve the application of Mr. Brock. Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Hearing no nays, unanimous. The application's approved. Mr. Brock, thanks.
Thank you all very much.
And so now we're on to new business, right? So
Yes, I had this put on. I just wanted, since we have some new hearing officers coming up, we just wanted to confirm, because under statute, the board has to affirmatively approve who the hearing officers are, even if they're board members. So if you want to make a motion just to approve all board members can serve as hearing officers, that would be sufficient.
I'd be a board hearing officer? Right, other than chair. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve all board members except for the chair to be hearing officer?
I make that motion.
Second.
Favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it's approved. So everyone can be. So would Charlie have someone go off the board, hypothetically, like a Lee Richardson, could actually be a hearing officer even though. All right, so moving on to public comments. I think everyone's gone. I hear a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
All right. So